Ladies and gentlemen, the Florida Supreme Court, please be seated.
To honor a judge, a law firm, a voluntary bar organization, and specific attorneys from around the state for their extraordinary contributions. Florida lawyers have also donated many millions of hours to other kinds of community service, including religious, charitable, and civic work. All of this work done by the members of our profession is deserving of public recognition, which is exactly the reason we are here today. Now, before recognizing specific individuals or groups, I think it entirely appropriate that we all join in a round of applause for the many thousands of members of the Florida Bar who have recognized their responsibility and discharged it with such unselfishness. The Chief Justice's Advisory Committee had a very difficult task of making recommendations from a long list of nominees, all of whom were deserving of recognition. In the opinion of the committee, those who are being honored today are simply the most deserving. Though the committee's task was not an easy one, I fully concur in its recommendations. I would like to recognize the members of the advisory committee. When I finished reading the names of the members of the full committee, I ask that those in attendance please stand and be recognized. The chair of the committee is Jesse Diner. The other members are Arnell Bryant Willis, Teresita Chavez Pedrosa, Judge Nikki Clark, Monica Evans, Deanna Ingram, Robert Jessusberg, Thomas Jewin, Stephen Kramer, Robert Lyons, Sheila Mann, John Nolan, Gigi Rolini, and Susan Sandler. Those who are present, please stand now and be recognized. I want to thank you and the other members of the committee who were not able to be here today for your outstanding service. At this time, I would also like to ask any former recipients of the Tobias Simon Pro Bono Service Award to rise and be recognized. We would also like to honor the members of the Florida Pro Bono Coordinators Association. Those of you in this group who are present, would you please stand? We thank you all for the work you do within your particular areas. It is especially fitting that the primary award presented today bears the name of Tobias Simon. The award was so named because of his record of service that represents the yardstick against which each of us in the legal profession measures our commitment to serving those of us who would not otherwise have meaningful access to our courts. In undertaking to represent the disadvantaged and the downtrodden, not only did Tobias Simon make meaningful the promise of accessible justice for those he represented, he also helped to define and preserve certain fundamental rights for all of us. Mr. Simon tirelessly worked for civil rights and prison reform at a time when those causes were not very popular, and he counted among his clients Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We know that the spirit of Tobias Simon lives on in the award that bears his name, which honors those other Florida lawyers who have unselfishly carried on his work. Let me now turn to the awards. In 2005, the court added a new award to recognize a state court judge for work toward improving the administration of justice as it relates to pro bono work by lawyers. Specifically, this award honors the judge whose work best exemplifies the aspirational goal described in the commentary to Canon 4B of the Code of Judicial Conduct. This comment to read the record in the booklet distributed here today. This judge truly is a shining example of public service and the goals set forth by Canon 4B. The court is now delighted to recognize the Honorable Susan G. Sexton to approach the bench and receive the award, shake the hands of the justices, and proceed to the podium for remarks.
privilege to serve in that division, and it was a privilege. It's always been a privilege to be a judge, but that especially was something that touched my heart. If I could in any way contribute, it was my honor to do so, but I could not do it without the people in the Elder Justice Center. And I like to mention them because of the fact that they work in our court system for very little money, with a passion, and sometimes not even with job security. They do a wonderful job for the citizens of the state. So it is really to them this honor belongs, but I will accept the plaque nevertheless. Thank you.
I'm very proud to echo what Chief Justice Kennedy already reminded us, and that is, in 2009-2010, members of the floor bar contributed more than $4.6 million directly from their pockets to the efforts of pro bono and over 1,600,000 hours of pro bono service. These Florida lawyers, all Florida lawyers, are committed to making a difference in their communities. I want to tell you about some of the examples of service provided by the award winners we're going to meet in a moment. A sole practitioner who has taken on 9 separate cases, ranging from child custody to visitation disputes to immigration and mortgage foreclosure, giving a total of almost 100 hours of pro bono services just in the last 2 years. A trial attorney who for 35 years has donated financial assistance, provided direct legal advice, and briefing services, and given full representation to low-income individuals in his community. A sole practitioner who used her personal family history with domestic violence as a catalyst to address the needs for legal assistance for victims of domestic abuse, who has donated 250 hours helping victims of domestic abuse complete domestic violence petitions to allow them to obtain protection. Another recipient has created a law firm, a pioneer in our state, converting a traditional for-profit law firm model, in fact, to a public service law firm. Currently, more than 80% of those clients are represented on a pro bono basis. 80% of law firms are. It's also interesting for all of us to note that 10 of these 21 award recipients are solo practitioners, which means that the burden they happily bear, they do not share among partners or other lawyers in their offices. In addition, of course, many of the lawyers we know and these particular recipients have spent untold hours in all sorts of activities, clinics, providing free services, putting on meetings, seminars, programs that help Floridians get through this economy that we're all struggling with. Other pro bono services also covered by these individuals includes guardian ad litem for children, attorneys ad litem, volunteer attorneys in other court cases defending the disadvantaged, the disabled, adolescent clients, single parents, and assisting in a variety of statewide and localized free hotline services. These Florida lawyers live the creed embodied by this famous quote: I expect to pass through this world at once, and therefore any good that I can do, any kindness I can show to my fellow man, let me do it now. Let me not defer or neglect it, for I shall not pass this way again. I would like to ask for each of the recipients of the Florida Bar President's Pro Bono Service Awards to come forward as I call your name and receive a very small token of our esteem, our admiration, and our gratitude. And again, thank you to them, thank you to their families, friends, and colleagues. Let's give them a round of applause. Fifth Circuit, Daniel Lee Hightower. And happily, a member of our Board of Governors from the Sixth Circuit, Murray Bruce Silverstein. From the Seventh podium, the president of our Young Lawyers Division, Renee Thompson.
Of public service, which you exemplify, is truly an inspiration to everyone who loves liberty, to everyone who loves justice. And we thank you, and we are proud to be here in your company. There is no greater cause than serving justice, even when it means that you must place yourself between the just causes of the poor and oppressed and the unjust opinions of the powerful. In so doing, not only do you help those in need, but as Tobias' son recognized, you help preserve many of the rights basic to our republic. This is the very essence of the rule of law, which has made this nation great. For their outstanding service to the rule of law, let's give a final round of applause to all our award winners. Presence here today to be a part of this ceremony is an important statement that each of you makes of your support for the public service that the Florida Bar provides to the people of this state. I want to take a special opportunity now to recognize a leader in the bar. We have many leaders here. I can't recognize all of you, but I'm very delighted that the president of the American Bar Association, Steve Zach, is with us here today. Now, as the ceremony concludes, we invite everyone here who is not an award winner to proceed to the rotunda for a reception celebrating the accomplishment of this year's recipients. And we ask that the recipients remain here in the courtroom for photographs. You will later join our guests in the rotunda. The ceremonial session of the Florida Supreme Court now stands adjourned.
Please rise.